All right, welcome to Respawn Night Fire, Kick-Ass Reverend Gaming Podcast, Raffle Idiots. Two things before I even introduce anybody, which means you cannot speak until spoken to. That's the rules of being a host. Everyone's clear on that? Good, you didn't fall for it. Number one, Sunday Night Football is on, and all anyone cares about is that Taylor Swift is there because she's dating a football player. Who gives a shit? Stop showing Taylor Swift. Show me the football. Second of all, we've got some things to talk about Canada's sovereignty and the freedom that they don't have. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Wins at Everything Gumbert, and today we have with us Chad. How shook were you about Canada, Michael Ennis?
Hi, I have the mic, and I'm going to commandeer it for three things. One, isn't the Taylor Swift football thing from last week? Are you watching last week's recaps?
No, she's there again.
She's there again? How many times do they play?
Once a week.
Oh my God. Okay, two, I was so shook when I literally just 90 seconds ago learned that Canada does not have freedom, that they are in fact enslaved to the British colonies, like whatever that means. I am completely shook. I have been making jokes. I feel like an asshole. I've been making jokes about American money being freedom money and Canada money not being free. And like Canadians just generally not being free. But like that's something you all actually struggle with. Number three, I'm going to commandeer for something like a little bit serious. October 1st, it is officially Mental Health Awareness Month. Do not be an asshole friend. Like, do not be the friend, not necessarily an asshole friend, but don't be the negative friend, you guys, you all. We're inclusive here. Do not be the negative friend. If sometimes people like to be around people who make them feel good, and it's okay to be critical sometimes, but if you're the kind of person who after every single movie, every single show that you see, every single game that you play, you have to find something immediately to say negative about it, like, rethink your choices. You make people not want to hang out with you. That's it. I'm still shook about Canada, though.
All of that feels very pointed.
Oh,
and we also have
with very relevant today.
Okay, I thought so. Thank you for being quiet this entire time. We also have with us Alex. He's from Canada, and he's not free. Cosina.
The following is a story from NintendoWire.com, written today on October 1st, 2023 by Jason Ganos. Toys R Us plans another comeback with new flagship stores. Toys R Us, the once king of everything toys and video games, is once again making a comeback after a 6-year hiatus following its 2017 bankruptcy. This revival is led by WHP Global, Toys R Us's parent company, which acquired a controlling stake in 2021. This marks the third revival attempt of Toys R Us since 2017, including a lackluster showing at Macy's department stores around the country. You guys in the United States have tried multiple times now with mixed results to bring back Toys R Us, a beloved brand that you killed off, possibly because of that one Republican that was competing against Barack Obama, who
Jeffrey
people
the
act
giraffe.
like, yeah, that guy. We here in Canada, to this very day, have Toys R Us stores like they never left. They never left, and that's because we, despite being in a very tertiary way, a nation that is sort of kind of controlled by Great Britain. I definitely learned about it once in high school, but I forgot the exact specifics of it, are nevertheless the superior country. And
Alex,
so you can diss us all you want for not being free, but at the end of the day, we got Toys R Us.
let me tell you about a digital revolution that happened in the early 2000s, where we don't need Toys R Us because physical toys are old as shit. Xbox doesn't even want physical games anymore. Kids don't want to play with action figures. They want Roblox bucks. Nobody gives a shit about Toys R Us anymore. And that's why you're not free. You are still shackled to the physical realm. We're in the fucking metaverse, man. That's true freedom.
I will say,
Go
I do
explore the
visit.
universe and Starfield on Xbox Game Pass in the cloud, bro.
I will
Don't
say,
go with that
I do
Republican
visit.
Joffrey the giraffe.
All right, that's enough, Chad. I do visit Toys R Us like once a month because it's located within a strip mall that also shares like a GameStop and a Walmart and like a couple of other stores of note. And I actually to be honest, very rarely buy anything from there. They actually completely eradicated their video game section. Like, I don't think they actually even sell video games anymore.
See?
That being said, I did purchase the Dixie Kong Lego playset, which I made on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. So they still got their uses. They still got their uses.
Yeah, can't get that on Amazon or Walmart at all. Only in Toys R Us in Canada.
No, not at all.
Twitch.tv/Applebeat. It's Sunday evenings at 8:30. YouTube and podcast services Tuesday at 9 a.m. Programming note real quick. Rafferty featuring Jacob McCourt and Luke Warm Lewis is up now in podcast.
So weird to me. It just makes me feel weird inside. It's like when ladies are like, I don't like the word moist. It's like, I don't like the word lukewarm. That just, ugh.
He's a wonderful man, though. That Rafferty is up. Adam wasn't supposed to be there. That's the title of it, and we'll move on. And then for Patreon people, patreon.com/respawning fire, you can get the next month's one, which we can announce here. Who's in that one? I wasn't there. Who was?
It was, get ready for this, drum roll please, Anthony Gallegos and Ryan Scott, formerly of The Comedy Button, currently of the Geekbox podcast, and the podcast that Anthony Gallegos does that I am definitely not stalling for time for because Rebel FM. Thank you, Adam. Adam actually is genuinely, no joke, somebody who listens to the podcast on a frequent basis, so he would know that off the top of his head. The two guys came through in addition to special guest in front of the show, Jerica Hanna, to play another game of Rafferty. So if you're like, man, this Jacob McCourt episode of Rafferty is somehow not satiating enough, I want more in my gullet. Oh man, you are in for quite the treat.
You said her name correctly,
to us on
Alex.
Patreon.
You can't let people know you can pronounce names correctly.
Go watch that episode if you want to know what Chad is referring to.
All right. Upcoming on today's show, not much at all, really, but we'll go ahead and go to our main quest, I guess. More layoffs. Is Epic okay? Question mark, from multiple people at VGC. Not a person named multiple, but multiple different articles on a single website. I know sometimes Chad is confused about it. It's okay. He has freedom. We'll learn and we'll move on.
He has freedom.
Epic Games is laying off around 16% of its workforce, it's announced. The company, which is responsible for the Unreal Engine and Fortnite, is laying off around 830 employees. 830. The job cuts were announced in a memo to staff from Epic CEO Tim Sweeney, in which he states that 2/3 of the layoffs are in teams outside of core development. This is a quote now from Sweeney. For a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators. I had long been optimistic that we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that this was unrealistic. Epic Games has said Mediatonic's work on Fall Guys remains a, quote, company priority, following reports that the UK studio had been hit hard by layoffs. Before we talk about it, I just love this part of the quote. For a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn. I don't need to hear the rest of it. That's wild. Like, hey, we just spent a lot of money and it was too much by 830 people. This is the thing that happened. A lot of layoffs in tech. And Epic, for me, is kind of weird just because, Unreal and Fortnite make a shit ton of money, but apparently not enough shit ton of money. You guys talk about it. Taylor Swift's on the TV.
It's just like so many shitty decisions have to be made in order to mismanage your company this badly that like 16% of you to have something that is so ubiquitous throughout pop culture that everyone in the world knows at least the name Fortnite, let alone, all sorts of things about it. But like, to ostracize your most popular audience on iOS by just like doing some random stunt that then like takes all of that player base out of your revenue stream, to then spending wildly on all sorts of third-party content to put into this game, knowing that you don't have the cash to back it up. And then like the Epic Games Store stuff, like going super hard and aggressive. But I understand you're taking risks and making bets that like aren't working out, but way too many risks and bets for a company that like you have a lot of money. So you got to learn how to use what you've got and not overspend. And it's just like, I don't know. It's a lot of really shitty management decisions made. And with a big consequence, 16%, that's 830 people. That's wild.
Yeah, and it also, this is a very, very small piece of the puzzle, but, earlier this year, Rumbleverse, which was published by Epic, ended its services. And I remember when that happened, we were all like, oh man, does this like speak to just how crazy chaotic the games as a service market is right now, that a game like this can't survive. And now in this context, I'm like, Was there some behind the scenes stuff going on, and Rumbleverse was just an easy target for them to be like, yeah, we need to cut costs because we are bleeding money as we speak. So this has definitely had many things have been impacted by this, and I echo Chad in saying, like, clearly there is some not great management going on there right now.
Yeah, as not a business person, but it seems to be just kind of not just gaming wide, but tech wide, where it was like, hey, again, a lot of articles I read is like, hey, when COVID hit, everyone's like, all right, we're making a lot of money, people spending money because everyone's sitting at home. Let's just like ramp up staffing, just like by a shit ton, and well, this will keep going forever. And it's just like everyone's like, actually, it did not. We have to be realistic, and then everyone gets laid off. It's just like, I don't know. Again, that's probably why I'm not in business, because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But then, these companies made a shit ton of money for like 3 years, so that probably looks good if you're the head CEO guy. It's like, look how much profit I made for 3 years. Fire those people. They have a severance package. Who cares? We'll move on. So, I mean, to me, it makes sense. Like when you're not making as much money, maybe rein in the spending. But I did not go to business school. I only went to firefighter school. And that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Guess whose house is not on fire right now? Yours.
I hope
Guess
not.
whose business is on fire? Tim's.
Tim specifically. But yeah, hope all those people land on their feet. It's always rough, but it seems to be happening a lot.
Did you see too that it was like such? Not only was it poor management that got them in this situation, but did you see that there were also people who got like they forgot to get fired, like several days after.
I kind of saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, we actually meant to fire you too. So goodbye. Like. It's wild that it's such a large number of people that they're laying off at once that they couldn't even keep track of it well. That's wild.
Yeah, that's wild. Be like, oh, sorry, you were supposed to be gone. Don't come in on Monday.
Yeah.
Got fired on your day off. Classic Friday goof.
I will
Movie
say,
Friday.
I would expect no less from a company of that size, but I will say that they are offering 6 months severance. They are offering health insurance for 6 months and all this stuff. Whereas like that's not something that's guaranteed that you see all the time. I can't remember what company it was.
That is true. Yeah.
I feel like it was last month. A bunch of people got laid off on the 31st of the month, which means that like their health insurance expired that day. Where if they had waited a day, they would have had health insurance at least for another month.
For a whole month.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah, good on them. But let's manage our money better. That being said, Ahsoka is in Fortnite now. If you want to go unlock Ahsoka, I'm sure
I wonder if we'll see a slowdown of licensed content coming to Fortnite.
It doesn't seem to be as much anymore. It seems to be like they recycle the old ones, and like maybe once a month they'll be like, "Here's somebody." It doesn't seem as crazy as it used to be. But anyways, I guess we're gonna move on to playtime because that is what's next. Alex, you go first because I need to actually see if I played anything else. Continue.
Real quick, before I get into what I've been playing, I meant to bring this up when you talked about the content in Fortnite nowadays. Apparently, Fortnite brought back their Share the Wealth emote on the same day as the mass layoffs. This is from Kotaku.
Oof.
It appears that the emote, which was added to the game earlier this year in Chapter 4, Season 3, was only on sale for a brief period before being removed, according to Fortnite BR and others. The emote was removed when Epic took down the entire daily rotation tab from the store shortly after the emote went live.
Yeah, obviously that was not intentional. I'm sure no one even had any idea people were being laid off when they planned that to go live, but man, that's a bad look.
Yeah, definitely not a great look. Moving on to what I've been playing this week. I basically dabbled in 2 games. Number 1 is a game that I'm calling Getting Over It 2 with Bennett Foddy, aka Sonic the Hedgehog Frontiers The Final Horizon. Actually, that's incorrect. It's not Sonic the Hedgehog Frontiers, it's just Sonic the Frontiers.
Because now
not
he's
even that.
an
It's
inchworm.
Sonic Frontiers. This game has seriously done a number on me. So, Sonic Frontiers comes out late 2022. Doesn't get utterly glowing reviews, but everyone's kind of like, yeah, this game's better than a lot of these Sonic games as of recent. I decided to buy into it because I'm like, you know what? Let's give this one a shot. I end up enjoying it. I don't remember where I ranked it on my top 10 list of games for that year. If you had told me that I had put it at the number 10 spot, I probably would have been like, yeah, that seems right. I found running around as Sonic in that game to be very enjoyable. I thought that the kind of moment-to-moment kind of gameplay loop of that game is surprisingly decent. The game was very unpolished and definitely not by any means like even I would say the best Sonic game that I've played. A lot of pop-in, a lot of just weird design decisions, but overall enjoyed it fine. I've been keeping tabs on the various DLC that is released for this game since its release, but I've not really jumped into it because I was kind of waiting for the big, meaty, story-based content with new playable characters that they had promised come from around when the game originally launched last year. And they finally released it this past Thursday, Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon DLC, which is basically like an alternate ending scenario / gameplay segment where you take control of Sonic the Hedgehog and his pals, Amy Rose, Tails the Hedgehog, and Knuckles the Echidna. And man, oh man, this DLC is freaking hard. So unbelievably hard that I tried on 2 separate attempts to come to terms with it, and ultimately I quit for good the second time around.
Whoa.
Controlling Tails, Amy Rose, and Knuckles is fine enough. They all have individual quirks that make them rather different to control compared to Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, Tails can fly around in the air. Knuckles has this weird gliding move. Their segments, at least what I played of them, were fine enough as is. Some challenging bits, but ultimately I was able to get through them. Then the game switches you over to Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's like, hey, your first task as Sonic the Hedgehog is you have to climb up this really, 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 really tall tower. I'm like, okay, sounds good. You know, during the campaign of Sonic Frontiers, I had to do that a couple of times, and it wasn't that hard. They introduced checkpoints at various points throughout the tower that I could use to get back up to where I previously left off as I was climbing them. And the game's like, good. Well, guess what? None of those checkpoints exist, and also, it's some of the most challenging platforming that we have ever subjected you to in a Sonic game. Straight up spent what felt like close to half an hour trying to climb up the first tower, and I was like, this sucks. I'm quitting this. Goodbye, Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon. Read online that a lot of people are also similarly struggling as I've been struggling. Like, what was funny about it is I kind of played this DLC in isolation without having heard yet what other people thought of it. And so it was one of those things of like, do I just suck at this game or is this really hard? And it was validating the next data here. A lot of people would be like, yeah, this DLC is next level difficult. But a lot of people were saying, if you're having trouble with the towers, just switch the difficulty to easy because they actually introduce additional platforms and balloons that make the process of getting up the towers easier. So I'm like, okay, cool. Come home the next night, turn on easy difficulty. And I actually managed to get to the top of the first tower. I'm
He
like,
said
okay,
balloons.
great.
I had to do balloons.
You did. And I'm like, okay, this is still pretty challenging, but if the DLC as a whole is only like 3-4 hours, I can struggle through this. And immediately after getting to the top of the tower, the DLC is like, great, here's your next challenge. You have to fight 4 of the most challenging ninja enemies that you have ever fought in the entire game. You only have 400 rings and you lose 375 of them the moment that you first get hit. Good luck. Tried once, tried twice, tried about 7 times total. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And that was my experience with Sonic Frontiers, The Final Horizon.
Boo. Boo.
Here's
I'll
the
be honest,
thing.
I bought it last month because I was like, you know what? Alex had pretty good things to say about it last year. I've been waiting for it to go on sale. And then they've got Final Horizon coming out. I mean, I'll still play the base game for sure. But like,
Sure.
yeah, it sucks that it's not what you wanted it to be.
But so here's what I was curious about. Were you like particularly motivated to buy this game because you really wanted to play The Final Horizon?
Not for the Final Horizon. No, I was just like, oh, what a good opportunity.
Okay.
Like, the game's coming out and there's an update coming soon. So I was like, oh, cool.
Because like ultimately, like, you know, everybody's mileage will vary, especially with a game like this, which is kind of wonky. But like, I think you will still get a lot of great quality gaming content out of the base campaign. There are no trophies associated with the new Final Horizon DLC content, so you don't need to worry about not getting that 100% if you don't complete it. But yeah, the Final Horizon itself is just very challenging. But again, I think the base game, I think you'll get some enjoyment out of that all the same.
Cool.
Damn, wild. A year later, and Cozy's like, it's too hard. You think they'll probably update that and make it not as bullshit?
Maybe. I mean, that's the thing, is that they did actually, like, in between the initial release of Frontiers and now, they actually did release a number of updates of like big and small size that did introduce some like useful quality of life features into the game. There was this one thing that everybody complained about where you have to go to this dude called the Elder Coco, and you have to give him these small creatures called Cocos to upgrade your stats. And it was this really monotonous thing where like, you're like, do you want to upgrade your speed? Yes. Okay, we will upgrade your speed. Okay, your speed is upgraded. Do you want to upgrade your speed again? Okay, we'll upgrade your speed. They introduced an update that significantly sped that up, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So
that's like the
I would
Pokemon
not put
Center. Welcome to the Pokemon Center. Do you want us to heal
exactly.
your Pokemon? Okay, your Pokemon. It's like mashing the X button. Yes, yes, yes.
I would not put it past the folks at Sega to introduce some updates to make this DLC a little bit easier. The problem is that when Sonic Frontiers came out, a lot of the hardcore Sonic fans complained this game is too easy. Like that was like one of the main complaints that that crowd of people had. And so I feel like from that perspective, I can't see them making this DLC that much easier, because I feel like from their perspective, it's like, you guys said it wasn't hard enough, so we made it harder. We're not going to rebuff on that, but we'll see.
All right. What was next?
What was next
Chad's
was
screaming.
playing through and seeing Sea of Stars to completion. I'll keep my spoilery thoughts to a minimum, because who knows, maybe we may or may not do some sort of episode / spoiler cast on this in the future, in which we talk more in depth about it. But I finally managed to see Sea of Stars to completion. I have not completed the like post-game like true ending stuff yet. But I did complete a lot of the side quest stuff leading up to it. And yeah, that game is really kind of truly special. I do have still a couple of little quips and issues that we'll get into on another occasion, but like it really, really, really impressed me. Something that we've, all witnessed firsthand over the course of the past couple of years is that a lot of these retro throwback games are not all created equal. Earlier this year, as part of BARF, we played Axiom Verge, the like old school 8-bit style Metroidvania game. And, we all walked away from it with differing opinions, but I think the one thing we agreed upon is this game is good, but it's not quite a masterpiece. Sea of Stars, despite my slight little qualms with it, is, I think, definitely a masterpiece. I think, what's their faces? Chad, you would know the name of the studio by now.
Fuck. It's the chimpanzee. Sabotage Studios.
Sabotage, Quebec studio, represent. They really knocked it out of the park with this game. And I think that if you're sitting there being like, oh man, I want an old school tribute to the 16-bit JRPGs of old, as well as the Mario RPGs of old, like Sea of Stars, more than just being a tribute to those games, really does live up to Sabotage's pledge to make a game that like truly kind of like evokes the kind of wonder and quality of those games. And so, yeah, I'm so really satisfied that I saw it through to the end.
You're just gonna, I can't wait. Let's definitely do a spoiler talk. Let me know whenever you finished it, and then let's schedule a spoiler talk.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
And by finished, I mean like do the true ending. You don't necessarily have to do the Flimsy Hammer secret Easter egg, but I definitely recommend doing that as well.
Flimsy Hammer secret Easter egg.
There are 4 Flimsy Hammers. Make sure you get all 4. If you want to see the Easter egg at the very, very end, like it's cool.
I mean, I will definitely platinum it. So
okay. You don't need the Flimsy Hammers to platinum the thing, so
just
keep that in mind.
All right, Chad, tell me what you've been doing, bud.
I've been peeing a lot this week. Been doing some lies
using
of
that pee organ,
baby. Using that pee organ to pee a little bit.
Oh yeah,
yes. Putting some quartz in my pee organ, aka kidney stones. Lies of P. I've been playing that most opportunities that I have to game this week, and I'm very, very into it. I'm in the cathedral area now, Adam, to give you an idea of like progress that I've made. So killed a few bosses. I feel like I very much enjoy it. I feel like it is exactly what I want from a Bloodborne type game. I feel like it has some spooky to it. I feel like it has some like really cool things going on. I like the aesthetic. I realized too that like the steampunk almost aesthetic, like some of the things evoke a little bit of BioShock to me, which I think is why I really, really dig it. So yeah, liking Lies of P a lot. The bosses I've found are so far kind of feel like Mega Man bosses to me, where like they're really, really tough unless you figure out like what's the thing that just completely shreds them. And once you figure that thing out, it's like, oh yeah, this boss is easy as shit. Which is similar.
What's
to,
the
like, Mega
weakness
Man
or what's the tell, and then just like
exactly
hand their ass to them. Yeah.
And if you're exploring the environments like completely and thoroughly, you'll find little like notes and flyers and stories from people everywhere that will kind of hint at, hey, these types of things are really weak to this kind of shit. And so it's pretty easy to find out. But anyway, really enjoying Lies of P. PV. Oh yeah, Pokemon Violet. Still playing a little bit of Pokemon Violet. But I have halted Pokemon Violet in an attempt to play Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis.
An attempt, huh?
An attempt. So Pokemon Violet, again, for the last couple of weeks has been my like, I'm on the elliptical, I'm on the treadmill, let me play this for 45 minutes at a time. And I'm like, all right, Ever Crisis is out. They're talking like I guess it's episodic in a way where like they're launching story missions every so often, and everyone's talking about Sephiroth's origin story is now in the game and that kind of thing. So I'm like, all right, let me jump into this thing, see if I can get into it. And I have tried on 3 different occasions over about 4 hours total, and I hate everything about this game, you all. It is.
What is this? You keep saying Ever Crisis, and I have no idea what it is.
So Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis was announced at the same time as, what was it, First Soldier, which I think was like the mobile Battle Royale, maybe it was, or something like that. But essentially, this is like the one mobile thing that is supposed to encompass all the story content from all the Final Fantasy VII universe, including the original Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VII, including Dirge of Cerberus, the PS2 first-person shooter spinoff, including the movie Advent Children, including Crisis Core, including First Soldier spinoff game, including new Sephiroth content, which is also called First Soldier, which is really confusing. So it's supposed to be that thing on mobile, and it's the idea was, it's not the full games, but it's vignettes of big moments throughout it to kind of guide you through the story so far. I think in preparation for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's the intent of this thing, but it is the most fucking gotcha mobile ass thing on the fucking planet, y'all. There are, first of all, every single time you load up the game, you enter in, and it's about 90 seconds of, you signed in for today. You get 50 blue crystals. Login bonus on the second day in a row for this event. You get 45 red crystals. You get an extra ticket for this gotcha bonus game. This is a new event happening next week. Limited time in the store right now. 5 guaranteed 5-star Sephiroth weapons. Limited time just next week coming. You just unlocked dungeons. You just unlocked this battle with this person. Co-op battles now available. Patch notes from this, and it's just that non-stop.
I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
All the gotcha stuff. I understand it's a mobile game. How is there gotcha stuff if it's just showing moments from single-player video games?
Because, Adam, they have shoehorned, it feels like, combat into this thing.
Okay.
And so as you're progressing in literally like 4 or 5 minute chunks of the story. And they are labeled as, they're confusing as fuck. They are story missions because there are like 95 different types of missions you could be doing in this thing. They are story missions, and there are like chapter 1, main session 1, subfolder 1-4. And again, they're like 4 to 5 minutes at a time. And sometimes they have combat in them. Sometimes, like in the case of, I've done the first 2 Mako reactors, and I'm now in the church with Eris and the flowers, and you fight what's his butt. And it's just a conversation with Aerith. She's like, do you remember me? We met. I gave you a flower. Yes, I remember you. Chapter done! Congratulations! You get 5 more blue crystals! You just unlocked this brand new co-op dungeon! Congratulations! You got 6 gloves for some character you don't even know exists yet! And I'm like, cool.
I am...
And then they're like, hold on. Then they're like, start the next chapter. I hit start. you pick up with the next sentence in that same conversation. Yeah, I remember you. It's like, why the fuck is this a different chapter?
I am getting like such major flashbacks to Kingdom Hearts Unchained X. Fun fact, I only discovered Discord as a platform, the platform that we're using to do this podcast on right now, because in-game in Kingdom Hearts Unchained X, me and the other people that I was part of as part of our guild were like, oh man, it'd be really good if we could properly coordinate raids trying to beat these giant heartless monsters that are just huge time and money sucks. And I was like, hey, I've heard about this Discord platform. Why don't we all go on there? And yeah, I guess I'm thankful to it in that way. But man, I know exactly what you're feeling right now, Chad, because what you're describing about Ever Crisis is exactly the way that Kingdom Hearts Unchained X was. Just a lot of really weird, disjointed story told over like a grueling pace with lots of microtransactions.
Yeah. And I wouldn't hate it as much if they were easy to ignore or if the actual gameplay was good. But my problem is that like you get into the gameplay and the combat that happens is, first of all, you have characters that like you eventually you get the choice of like, what party do I want to bring into this thing? Do I want to play it with the like story canon party, or do I want to like swap out with some other random ass members that I could? But you get in there and like everybody seems to already have a bunch of magic high level skills and high level limit breaks and that kind of shit. Your weapons that you're constantly getting from these blue crystal gotcha things with bonus tickets and event things seemingly don't matter because I've never explored any of them or upgraded any of them. But also I just hit the auto button in battle and everything happens at 10x speed and all battles are over in literally like 11 seconds. And nobody ever struggles with anything. It's just like, it's so boring. It's so stupid. And then the content that's there is, yes, it's the story content with, yes, a lot of the same dialogue and brand new, different, like completely different art styles and rendered differently just for this experience. But it's just ruined by the entire experience of it all. Another tiny little thing that gets to me too is that like the voice acting is Japanese. And there's no option to swap. And that's like that's not normally a thing that would trip me up. Like watching movies with subtitles is not a thing for me that like gets me. But it is whenever like I'm accustomed to English speaking Cloud and Sephiroth. I've gone through multiple games where they speak English, and now to like only hear them speak Japanese, I'm like, oh, I'm now completely disconnected from these characters.
Yeah, reading subtitles on your phone. So I guess, can you finally knock this out of your list of games I hope to play this year? You just named like 17 Final Fantasy games earlier this year of things you were playing this fall. You can take this off the list now, right?
Yeah, I am 100% going to just YouTube the brand new unique Sephiroth stuff out of this stuff and ignore everything else about this experience. But I am still going to go back and platinum Final Fantasy VII Remaster for PS4, which is the PS1 game.
Okay.
Just because I really want to know, especially as we're going into Rebirth, like I want to know how drastically or not drastically it deviates from the original game, because I have not played the original game since I was like 11 years old. So I want to know.
Gotcha. See what's different. Now that Alex is gone, you want to talk smack about Canada some more?
Oh, fucking Canada in their... oh, he's back. He heard us.
He's back. We can't say anything now. Okay. As for me, I did 3 things that all have the letter C in them. Look at me. I'm cool over here. First was Cyberpunk. Played that. Game's awesome. Again, that update is wonderful. I haven't even got to the DLC yet. I'm just doing everything else because it feels so new and different. Yeah, I really like the new, like the skill system. Just like abilities you couldn't do. Basically now, I'm like, I can jump, double jump, air dash, and then like dive to somebody with a sword and just like cut them in half immediately. It's fucking great. It feels awesome. I'm like, I'm a cyber ninja, even though I'm still like on the second story mission. So they're just like, hey V, you want to come out and help us do this basic ass thing? And I just like murder like 30 dudes in like 2 seconds. It's like, oh, good job V. I mean, you're really good apparently. So no, that's good. I will talk more whenever I actually get to the DLC. But I'm excited.
So Idris Elba's only in the new content, right? So like you have not seen his Donger yet, right?
I have not seen him yet, even though people say he is in the world before you get to the DLC because he's a spy. She's doing spy stuff, but I have not seen him yet. But next, I did play a new game. I played about 45 minutes or so. Played a little game called Cocoon. Cocoon is a new puzzle game from Cocoon. It's a puzzle game from someone who worked on Inside. You know, every time we hear that, because I remember last year Somerville was like some of the people who made Inside and Limbo. This is also a person who made Inside and Limbo, but this game is awesome. Cocoon is wonderful. It's really weird and trippy. Like, the idea is that like you have like these orbs and like you go in and out of worlds to like do the puzzles. So it's like, all right, I'm going to grab this orb and move it with me. And I move it to this new spot. And then I jump back into the orb that I carried to go get an item I didn't have, bring it out of the orb to walk over here. And it is so mindfucky. But it's an excellent puzzle game. I say everyone try that out. It's on I know it's on PlayStation. I know it's on Xbox. I know it's on Game Pass. You guys should definitely check it out. It's really good. I was like, I'm normally not super, again, like Inside and Limbo are wonderful. It's hard to like follow in that footsteps. I'm not saying this is that good, but it is very, very good. It's an excellent puzzle game.
I'm amazed that they managed to somehow get Wilford Brimley back for this game, despite him having already died as of several years ago.
Diabetes is wild. You say the right words and you get resurrected.
Wow, is that how it works?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the Family Guy episode, but he was talking about the fact that he's been hitting his wife, and then his wife's been dead for like 4 years. He's like, who the hell did I hit? Turns out she had diabetes.
I'm just really where did the Wilford Brimley thing come from?
I don't know, but I ran with it.
It was like some commercial that he did for like some medication. But the thing is that like, I think in the commercial itself, he pronounces diabetes correctly.
I have diabetes.
But like it's not like oh, he's just some like weird old Western man who pronounces it weird. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just an act. But it's an act that took off.
But you're talking. He was in the movie
weird.
Cocoon. No, okay. I'm making the connection. He was in a movie called Cocoon in 1985.
That man's an actor? I thought he only did the diabetes commercials.
Yeah, he was in Cocoon. He was in what was the John Carpenter movie, The Thing. He was in the first of the 2 Star Wars Ewoks movies. He was like the weird old man that gives the main character like a potion or something.
I was 100% convinced that man, his only job in his entire life was doing diabetes commercials that came on during The Price is Right. I thought that was all that he did.
Yeah.
Interesting. Diabetes. And then the last thing I did, I watched a show called The Continental. Which is the John Wick TV show. It's 3 episodes. It's a Winston origin story about how he got the Continental. Every episode's like an hour and a half. Like, it's like I'm watching like a BBC fucking special here or whatever. I watched the first one. It's pretty good. I'm gonna keep watching it.
Is it live action?
3 episodes.
Animated?
Live action. That's the one that there was a big deal because they had Mel Gibson in it. Like they announced that years ago. But no, it's a young Winston, a young Lance Reddick is in it. Yeah, not Lance Reddick, but someone. I'm pretty sure this is the same character that he becomes eventually. So no, it's just cool. I would say that the fight scenes are like, oh no, this definitely feels like John Wick. Like a lot of like punchy, really good, like shoot dudes in the head. You know, the choreography in John Wick's really cool. I don't know how to explain it, but it's pretty solid. I'm like, for a Peacock show, dude, Peacock putting out bangers.
It's a
between
Peacock
Twisted
show.
Metal.
Okay, Twisted Metal,
and
I
the
don't know if I said
Continental.
this on the podcast, but like I watched Twisted Metal a few weeks ago to completion, and it's like, fuck, I really want Twisted Metal season 2 right now.
Yeah, I really want season 2.
I was so surprised by it.
That Peacock does some all right stuff. Again, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever, but it was another thing that started with C. So on my list, I wanted to have 3 things that started with C.
Speaking of things, like cock starts with C, vagina starts with V. There's that new Gen V show, which is the Boys spinoff about other people who aren't the 7. That came out on Friday. I have not watched any of it, but it's getting very, very good reviews. So just alert to everyone out there.
The first 3 episodes up. Yeah. I have not watched it. I've only seen season 1 of The Boys. I want to get to it, but I'm really scared of when they go inside a penis, and I'm just like terrified of that scene.
Yeah, that's just the first episode. And the first scene of the first episode, a penis gets exploded. So then
that's a tough one.
It never happens again.
Okay, I can live with that. But all right, moving on from playtime, going on to the quest log, things that happened this week. Again, like I said at the top of the show, not much, but we're here talking about stuff. PlayStation head retires to spend more time with his cats. It's from Alex Stedman and IGN. Was it his cats or was it his dogs in that dumb
It was
email
his
that he
cats.
did? It was
his cats. Yeah.
Very funny, very funny. Jim Ryan, who's been president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment since 2019, is retiring in March 2024, Sony announced. The news first broke via a post on X/Twitter from Jason Schreier before Sony confirmed it with their own announcement shortly after. It's a quote now from Jim Ryan. After 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from SIE in March 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners, but I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be a part of my life, and I feel very optimistic. And I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of SIE. So a couple of things here. People talking about, yeah, he made the dumb cat comments and stuff, but like PlayStation made a lot of money. He's a businessman. That's what they do. Did you guys know he was from Europe?
Yeah.
He didn't. Does he have an accent? I don't remember this man having an accent.
He has I don't know if I could place what country it's from, but he definitely has an accent.
Oh, okay. I just feel like I see him so rarely. I just never put it together.
That's the thing.
In my
Yeah,
head.
he's a very business guy. He was the person who also is like, we don't do crossplay because we have to protect the children. Like that was him before he became a president. Yeah, he definitely had an accent. My issue is that like Andrew House, who is a Sony executive, I can't remember what position he holds right now, but Andrew House and Jim Ryan, I always in my brain conflate both of their names as Andrew Ryan, and then that's BioShock.
Oh no,
that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad now that we'll hopefully have someone in charge, Hiroki Totoki, which is a much more fun thing to say and does not invoke, the dystopian Andrew Ryan when I say it.
It was weird to see Twitter completely blow up when this guy announced his retirement. Like the level on which people were like, holy shit, this is breaking the game. This is completely unexpected. It's like you would have thought that Satoru Iwata died twice in a row. This guy, I mean, he presided over one of the more profitable and renowned periods of PlayStation, clearly responsible for, a lot of the reasons why it was why this particular era has been so successful for them. But like the man himself, like completely has faded into the background for me. Like I honestly had completely even forgotten. Oh yeah, Andrew Ryan. Fuck.
Fuck. See? Yeah. And that's the thing
Ryan.
A lot of people are saying, like, oh, we need like a Phil Spencer. Like, you're right. Jim Ryan made PlayStation a lot of money, made a lot of great business decisions in the last few months, but he's not few years, but he's not a personality. He's not the person who's out in front of the camera talking about all the cool things that are coming to PlayStation and that kind of shit. And maybe the next person could be or should be. I don't know, but
what's really interesting about that? Because I've been listening to multiple shows. Of course, this was the news last week. I listened to a lot of gaming podcasts. And a lot of different people were talking about that, where in like early 2000s to the early aughts, like that was a thing to be like, again, you had Reggie, you had, who was the guy that everyone,
Kevin
was
Butler.
Butler. Who's the other guy? Was it Layden?
Ronnie, the kid from the PlayStation Portable.
What's the other? Whatever.
Sean Layden.
There was a Sean Layden. Yeah, and Kevin Butler. There was definitely a time where it's like, be a fun, of course, like Miyamoto, but he's not an executive. He's a game maker, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's different. But there was a time where like, Reggie, and of course we have Phil now, but Phil's really the only one anymore. And now it's just like, we're business people. And like, that's just the norm now. So it's just funny to think that like, maybe the next person will have personality. Like, do they need to? Don't they just really need to sell PlayStation products? And that's really all that matters. But I do like when they have personality.
Me too. I miss the Kevin Butler
accents.
days. I miss Kevin Butler.
I love it. So we'll see what happens. Either way, it'll just be someone who makes money for them, which is good. Hopefully it's not an idiot. Get somebody good.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Elon Musk.
They announced Hiroki Totoki is taking over interim, and then next year they're going to figure out a legit successor.
Mm-hmm. Here's another thing. I don't know what Doug Bowser sounds like. Does Doug Bowser have an accent? Is he from Europe? Couldn't tell you.
Peaches.
He might as well be Jack Black. I have no idea what he sounds like. But good on Jim Ryan. I mean, PlayStation's been doing some cool stuff. Let's just hope that games as a service doesn't.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I'm gone now. Have fun with that. We'll see.
I wonder if he's like, hey, everyone, since I'm leaving in 2 weeks, make me responsible for the PlayStation Plus price hikes. And then, like, you can cut me out.
It's like, who gives a shit? I'm making my money. It doesn't matter. I'll be the scapegoat. All right. Our last story. This is just Adam dancing on a grave, man. I don't really
I also
want...
realized I read this whole thing and we never say the name of the game that you're talking about.
It's not in there. Oh well, everyone knows what I'm talking about. This remake totally isn't dead from Andy Robinson at VGC. This is all in reference to Knights of the Old Republic remake, the supposed PlayStation launch exclusive coming who knows when. This week, fans noticed that the tweet from the primary PlayStation Twitter account announcing KOTOR remake in 2021 had been deleted, while the title's reveal trailer had also been made private on YouTube. This, combined with press reports the title's allegedly troubled development, led to speculation that the game could be the latest casualty of restructuring efforts at Aspire's parent company, Embracer Group. This is a quote now. As part of normal business, we delist assets with licensed music when the license expires, a Sony spokesperson said. As noted by journalist Stephen Totillo, it is not clear why music for an upcoming video game would expire, especially because the music featured in the trailer from the Star Wars movies and not licensed externally. A search of PlayStation's YouTube account shows that many Star Wars game trailers, at least as far back as 10 years ago, are still publicly listed. So, again, this is just Adam's thing about I never trusted Aspire.
Yeah.
But for it to be like completely deleted, yeah, that's maybe we'll get that in PS6 with a different team completely.
One of the problems with this game, quote unquote problems, is unfortunately I feel like this is a game that has really been a victim of like the sheer kind of quality creep that has affected a lot of similar-ish games that are like, hey, this is a game that came out a while ago and now we're planning on kind of like remaking it for the kind of modern era. Titles like the more recent Dead Space remake, Final Fantasy VII, that series have really kind of raised the bar for what we can expect out of these like really elaborate reimaginings. And I feel like right now, like whoever has been burdened with this title is probably in the unenviable position of like, this needs to be like up there with like the best, most flashy AAA games of the year, or otherwise like nobody's going to want it. And that's unfortunate because I feel like when BioWare made it back in the day, they, you know, had every intention of making a premium quality, you know, Star Wars RPG experience. But I feel like the stakes were not on them in the same way that they are now for whoever's making this.
No, that was like, oh, the people who made like Baldur's Gate 2 are going to make this cool space game. And it's like, oh, no, this game's actually like a 10 out of 10. That's awesome. But now it's like remake a 10 out of 10 20 years later. And they're like, I don't think Embracer is the company to do it. Yeah. I would be happy if it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive or even temporary, whatever the deal is, obviously there's PlayStation Connection. Let Bluepoint do it.
Yeah.
I trust Bluepoint over anybody that Embracer has, besides Crystal Dynamics, because I think they're wonderful. But that just makes sense. If it's a PlayStation exclusive, like wholly, give it to the people who are good at remasters and remakes.
And that's another thing, too, is like, I feel like, and I don't have any insight into this, but I would suspect that behind the scenes, one of the big struggles with this game has been how much do we modernize it? Do we kind of stick to its CRPG roots, or do we make it more of like an action-y type experience? And like, I would hope that the recent success of titles like Baldur's Gate 3 have perhaps convinced the decision makers behind the scene to be like, you know what? We can make a version of this remake that is very true to the original in terms of its gameplay. It'll look super glossy, but it'll still be that more kind of nutty CRPG experience, because I feel like if they also want to like completely reinvent its gameplay on top of making it look that much more glossier like a AAA game nowadays should, I don't think this game's ever going to come out.
I just think you just make a new game. You can call it KOTOR remake, but you're just making a new game, but just keeping the same script.
Exactly.
Which is fine. I would also be fine with that. Because as I told Chad, I was like, hey, KOTOR is great. Don't play it now. Don't play that old game now. You will not like it. We'll see. Again, this is just me dancing on the Aspire's grave.
I have it on iPad, and I'm sure that's the best place to play it.
Don't bother. You're good. Again, I love that game. Don't play it now. But that's it for all our stories. We're going to move on to...
Segment from Adam. That's to Way Down Hadestown, which is the name of the musical, Hadestown. I just saw that today. San Jose Performing
very
Arts Center.
nice.
Very, very, very good musical.
Was it based in America, where we have real freedom, unlike Canada, who are underneath the Queen and the Queen?
Based in Hades. At least the second act was, which is not in America because there was no freedom, and that was actually a big theme of the show. That Hades had actually been, they're a bunch of people who are working to build this wall and make these factories and make these automobiles and electricity and all.
But
this
do they have a Toys R Us though?
They do not have a Toys R Us, unfortunately.
Another reason why
it's like
Canada is better than all these
America,
countries.
Canada.
Yeah, Canada's better than Hades. You heard it here first. Since it's October 1st, thankfully, I can go through the Metacritic of all the best games in September and like, hey, we're getting to the end of the year. What's important for Game of the Year?
Yeah.
I will say, recently, Metacritic updated their website. It used to be I could click on, it's like new releases or like best new releases, and you could do like last 90 days. Mm-hmm. So it was really easy. That's gone now. Now it's just like the best games of 2023. So I have to scroll through everyone and look at the date. There's like 20 per page, but still.
Metacritic.
Yeah,
Why'd you got to take that away?
They're playing around. Number 1, Phantom Liberty at a 90 on Metacritic. Check it out. Idris Elba's there. The game is awesome. I definitely agree with that. Cocoon at an 89. Again, very early in, but it is excellent.
Well, I read
Look
that
at me
as
playing the
Coco on.
No, it's Wilfred Brimley's Cocoon. Come on, Chad, get it together. Next up is Starfield in 86. Another game I've played. I think I've played basically everything on this list. Yeah, almost.
Wow.
30XX is up next at an 85. This game is really cool. It's Mega Man X.
Oh.
A roguelike, I think. Like a roguelike Mega Man game. Apparently it's really good. People like it a lot. Lies of P. Oregon at an 84. Mortal Kombat 1, also at an 84. A game I'm super excited to go on sale because I'm not good at fighting games, but I love their story stuff. So I am excited to check that out whenever it's like $20. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk at an 83. And then Gumbrella from Devolver Digital at an 82. These are the best games of the month. Do we want to discuss anything that people should play for Game of the Year talk?
What's weird looking over this list is I actually have not played a single game on this list, despite having like kept up a pretty good pace of completing games this month.
Is
This was
30XX actually a Mega Man property, or is it like the world's biggest ripoff? Not ripoff.
It's the world's
but
biggest. This is basically Mega Man, but not legally descript Mega Man.
This is Mega Man, except instead of having a helmet, the main character has hair. But your companion Zero looks exactly like Zero from the Mega Man X series.
This is basically like if Mighty Number 9 was actually good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
There's the first game called 20XX, which is also apparently good. I will say, I'm going to say yes, Phantom Liberty, because it is an expansion, and CD Projekt Red is the only company I've ever had make expansions that are like worthy of being Game of the Year contenders. Again, it's a tough year, so I'm not saying necessarily it's going to win, but I'm very excited. Everything that they've done with the 2.0 update has me excited for whatever shenanigans they get into. Cocoon, check it out. Very good puzzle game. Starfield, you're going to know if you like it. I like it. Chad hates it. It's fine.
I'm going to try both. I'm going to get Game Pass for a month, and I'm going to try both Cocoon
just play
and
everything.
Starfield.
Yeah. And then we like Lies of P. So
Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, Lies of P. Definitely play Lies of P. I was listening to something. Maybe it was Easy Allies. I can't remember. But they were talking about how much. No, it was kind of funny. They were talking about how much they hate the fact that Lies of P is hard to tell people about, especially who don't know games. And like, oh, what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Lies of P. Who's Lies? Liza Minnelli? No, Lies of P. What is that? It's like,
what? Explain this. I saw a joke. Someone was like, they definitely named it Lies of P because trying to spell Pinocchio every time was going to be too hard.
Yes.
It's like, I don't disagree. All right, that's my segment. Good games, check them out. We're about to get really in the shit. It's October now. There's some heavy hitters coming, everybody. And that's it for my segment.
Hell yeah. Guess what, guys?
What?
It's time for Cozy's Question of the Week. We're bringing it back, and I've decided this time around, when you originally pitched this idea to me, Chad, you were like, you write in a bunch of questions to Kind of Funny. Maybe you could take some of those questions and ask them here on the podcast. I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. First time we did this segment, I asked you guys a very video gamey segment, video gamey question that I made up for the podcast. And I realized in retrospect, you know what? I don't need to overthink this. Let's just take the questions that I asked Kind of Funny, copy and paste them wholesale, and ask them to you guys.
Love it. Recycling
So I'm
is
gonna
important
ask
for the health of the planet.
the two of you, which person on this podcast has the best hometown?
I know who it's not.
Of course, your boy was born and raised in Montreal, still currently lives in it. It's a nice little town. I would say very underrated on the international stage. I don't feel like it gets a lot of international love, but we're a nice little city. It's kind of like New Orleans, but a lot less dirty and a lot more cold.
Okay,
All right.
Chad, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm born and raised.
Isn't that a question? Is it where we're from or where we live?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because
I
that
would
could be
say
different answers.
In the
What was the
spirit,
question exactly?
which person on this podcast has the best hometown? So I'm going to go with where you were originally born and raised, not where you're living right now.
All right.
Oh, that's
If
it.
it's
So I'm going to
different.
say Mint Hill. Mint Hill is a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. We are known for our closeted racism. We are known for our Trump 2020 signs being in our yards for way too many years after Trump's 2020 election.
Oh,
We
no.
are known for, Trump's failed 2020 election. We are also known for the transgender bathroom bill and being scared of other people of different genders seeing our pee-pee in our private place. So, yeah, that might win. I mean, at least we got freedom, though.
You know how
That's true.
we
Yeah,
here
we
in
got
Montreal, we here in Montreal have poutine as like our kind of like local specialty. What's
Are
like
we
the
allowed to say
local
that on Twitch?
specialty? The poutine?
No, there you go again.
Stop saying it.
What is the local P word specialty of the place that you're from?
Oh God,
Possum.
possum. No, probably like Dunkaroos from the Dollar General.
Oh, those are great. My hometown. Oh, I don't know which one I'm gonna do. I've got one. So it's either Indianapolis or it's for sales, Kentucky. Which one sounds better to you guys? What's more fun?
Well, no one likes Indiana.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
lie.
let's
Okay.
go with Kentucky. Come on.
For sales, Kentucky is very cool. It is where Woodford Reserve, like one of the best bourbons in the world, is distilled there. And the one thing it is a little small little country town. Well, it's not that small, but it is legitimately like it is beautiful. It is whenever someone gives you a picture, like a postcard of like Bluegrass State, that is legitimately what everyone's house looks like. But to go to the
Ooh.
negatives, it is a little bit of a hick town. Not that bad, but it is like there's like 3,000 people in this town, and there's bourbon, which is cool. But you want to drive 20 minutes to get to Lexington because that's where the real fun is. All right, which one of those is the best?
What about is there like a local specialty in Versailles that we would appreciate?
Woodford Reserve.
Okay. You know what? That's fair. I got to be honest, like as much as I, am here to represent my home city of Montreal, like I got to appreciate Versailles. Kind of a weird way that you pronounce it because I was just in Versailles in France.
Incorrect. Don't say that here.
But
Are they spelled the
everything
same?
It's spelled exactly the same.
The same
Yeah,
as like
no.
Louisville and Louisville, right?
Yeah,
It's like, don't say it the right
It's a
way or
weird-
else you're going to get shot.
It's a weird American thing.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm not going to vote for myself. I actually have another vote. Yeah, I do like how pretty it is in bourbon because I'm a big bourbon fan. I will vote for Cozy's just
Oh.
because, as much as I do love the South, Chad makes a point that racism is not fun.
Oh, no, it's not.
So,
But there's no racism in Canada unless you're Indian, as we learned from Venba. But because
As we learned
probably,
from
I don't know, it's mostly white up there, right? So they don't even know what racism is.
very uncomfortable with that.
things are more complicated than that.
I like Canada. I'll just
but no,
say
I would say, yeah, I'd say
Thank
you
you.
sold Canada much better than I sold
It's a
my
major city
hometown.
too. Because I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
hometown, but a major city is like a much cooler thing to think about.
I feel a little embarrassed having all this praise directed at Montreal. Montreal, though, a great city. I have no qualms with it being number one. But yeah, I think we would have to put Versailles at number 2 in that case. And I guess wherever Chad came from will be at number 3.
Charlotte is
place
also,
Chad
it's a big city, but it's a boring ass city. Like it was known
Yeah.
just for banking, and then the banks left, and now it's just like nothing to do in Charlotte to go except for go see a mid tier
the
football team.
Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Very good question, Cozy.
Yeah,
very good.
And that's
That
it
brings us
for
to-
Cozy's question of the week, which means that it is time for
Game on Game Show. The Game on our Game Show. We play a game called Game on the Gaming Show on our Game Show. Game. Returning segment that is 3 months late, but it doesn't matter because there's still plenty of content. We are playing MFK 2K23, baby, part 2.
okay.
MFK, Marry, Fuck, Kill. So this is a tradition in Respawn Aim Fire history. We've done it almost every 6 months, where we look at the next 6 months worth of games that are coming out, and we decide which ones we want to marry, which ones we want to fuck, and which ones we want to kill. The distinction between those three means absolutely nothing. If we choose a game to marry, it doesn't mean that we're all excited for it. If we choose a game to kill, it doesn't mean we all hate it. It just means whatever it means. As a refresher, we did this back in January, so MFK 2K23 Part 1. We chose ultimately to marry Diablo 4, fuck Horizon Call of the Mountain, and kill Dead Island 2. That was the results of the first half of the year. Now, as we were going through Part 2, usually we were supposed to do this in June, but I had completely forgotten. But it doesn't matter because usually I choose 12 games, and I chose 12. I started making my list of going through the what's coming out before the end of the year, and I had 12 games already before October was done. So we've got plenty of shit. So I had to weed out a couple of things. We've narrowed it down to 12 games throughout the remaining quarter of the year, and we're going to figure out what are we going to marry, what are we going to fuck, and what are we going to kill. And the thing is, it has to be unanimous as a group, so we might have to make some concessions for others. So we are splitting these up into 4 smaller groups, and then we'll decide from those results what ends up being our ultimate for each one. The first group, I've kind of themed them together as Back at It. So these are 3 games, maybe 3 games that are kind of returning to the roots of their originals a little bit that are coming out. We have Assassin's Creed Mirage. We have Sonic Superstars. And we have Detective Pikachu Returns. What are we marrying, fucking, and killing?
I mean, I know what Alex wants to do to Sonic, but I don't know if I want to say it out loud.
Which is why I'm going to say that I am going to fuck Sonic Superstars, which actually is what I'll do in this case, because Sonic, I've had a bit of a mixed experience with the 2D Sonic games, but this looks to be a quality product, so I feel like fuck is around the level where I'll put my excitement for it. And I guess from there, I'll just kill Assassin's Creed, because that Creed kind of looks kind of ass, and I'll marry Detective Pikachu, even though I'm not super stoked about it.
Here's what I'll say: Detective Pikachu is on the kill list for me.
That's
the one out of the
Detective
3
too.
who cares? I don't think I've heard anyone talk about that game. Besides that Danny DeVito's not in it, don't care.
Here's also a thing. It looks like it's going to be a baby-ass game for babies, and you can't fuck a baby, you can't marry a baby.
You shouldn't.
Babies die all the time, though.
That's
Maybe I will play this game just to spite the two of you.
have fun.
So yeah, I'm leaning towards killing Detective Pikachu Returns.
Can we convince you to do that, Cozy? We're both for it.
Let me make an argument for not killing
Can I
Assassin's
ask a
Creed
question?
Mirage,
Where do the two of you want to put Assassin's Creed by comparison?
So here's what I'm thinking. Assassin's Creed, which you've currently chosen to kill, I'm thinking Assassin's Creed is we know what it's going to be. It's going to be the same Assassin's Creed Ezio type combat, the same kind of story. It's going to be short this time. It's going to be 20 to 30 hours. It's a known quantity. That's the kind of thing that you want, that solid, reliable rock of a marriage. It's not necessarily exciting all the time. But Sonic Superstars, this has the potential, maybe. New things in there. New people we're inviting. Maybe this is a good one-time story.
I can't argue my way out of this. Let's go with that. That's fine.
I'm fine with that. Marry Assassins, give Sonic the good old 1-2 and kill Pikachu. I'm fine with that.
All right, so perfect. Group 2, we're calling this Better Than Before. So these are sequels that are hoping to one-up themselves from the previous one. We have Marvel Spider-Man 2, Ghost Runner 2, and WarioWare Move It.
So
I'll throw out there that WarioWare Move It could be a fun fuck. That's doing weird, kinky shit that's experimental.
Yeah, I agree. And that series, like, pretty good, like a pretty consistently solid track record. Some weird sidesteps here and there, but even those aren't that bad. I gotta be honest, like, I know that Ghost Runner 2 is getting like pretty good previews right now. I know that Ghost Runner 1 is on our current Patreon poll for this month's Barf. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit on that. I don't have a lot of excitement / interest for the Ghost Runners, and I would be fine killing that off, which feels a little
I have
redundant
no
because it
experience
already
with the
is a
Ghost Runners,
ghost. So, but
I'm going to concede my vote to Cozy because we made him marry Assassin's Creed. So I'm fine with going whatever you want to go with. But on this one, one time.
All right. Well, then that in an unexciting turn of events, Marvel Spider-Man by process of elimination is what we're marrying.
Sure.
All right.
As which version of Peter? He's got
You
three
can switch
different
between them
phases.
on the fly. That's why we're marrying it.
Okay, there we go. Very fun.
All right. Group number 3 is called Wow You With New. So tried things that like we know we like or have been around, but they're hoping with a new twist to bring you in for this next one. Super Mario Wonder. Super Mario RPG.
Oh,
Lords of the Fallen.
does anybody here feel strongly at all about Lords of the Fallen? That's another game like Ghost Runner 2 where people are excited for it. It seems like it's going to be a quality product. I don't have any interest in it.
For the sake of this exercise, I think that should not be the kill, just because that's too easy. So I think one of the Marios has to get killed to make this interesting.
Shit.
I think you're right. Otherwise, the other Mario is going to be jealous. Like, this is the Mario that she wants you to be. This is the Mario you're jealous of. Whatever that meme is. Like,
Yeah.
she tells you not to worry about. It's like one of them's got to be dead. Otherwise, okay, I get you.
So do you want to marry or get down with Mario is the question. And then becomes the case of which one do you actually want? And then we got to kill the other one. I think that's interesting.
Okay, so Lords of the Fallen, this is like a Dark Souls-like thing, right? It's a Souls-like thing. I imagine this is not something you want to be with for the rest of your life. That's scary. Can you imagine waking up to that every single morning? Like,
It's just scary and wet all the time.
scary and wet, which sometimes can be thrilling, but that's like a one-time get it, like hit it and quit it kind of thing. So I'm thinking we fuck Lords of the Fallen,
Okay.
which leaves us with marrying one of the Marios.
One Mario. So in your heart of hearts,
So-
which Mario do you want to marry?
Here's the thing, Chad. I am in a little bit of a conundrum because I actually have some deep and hard thoughts on my expectations going into Super Mario Wonder, but I feel like in order to share those thoughts, I would also have to share what I thought about New Super Mario Bros. U, which we played for last month's Barf, but I don't want to spoil them here. So what I will say is that in terms of Super Mario RPG, I do feel like the bar has been raised a little bit on that title to impress me again. I played the original version of the game back in the day and I enjoyed it then, but Sea of Stars, which is a very similar game mechanically and tonally, really impressed me this past month. And there is part of me that's like, will Super Mario RPG cut it, or will it feel perhaps a little bit passé in light of a lot of the improvements that Sea of Stars brought to the table? Or will they both coexist as good RPGs? I don't know.
Here's another way to think about it. Do you want to marry an elephant or a puppet named Gino?
I mean, when you put it that way,
Well, here's another way to think about it. What if I'm going to throw this out there. Feel free to argue with it. What if we marry Super Mario Wonder? And here's my argument. Maybe at face value, you know what you're going to get. It's routine, you like it, it's enjoyable, it's good. Every once in a while, though, you discover something wild about your partner that you never knew, which is similar to like Wonder. Like suddenly the level just like changes and you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that was a thing about you. And you're just like, it leaves room and opportunity for growth in your relationship.
wow, you have a pet elephant? I didn't even see where you kept it.
Yeah.
Have we seen that effect before?
I
One
forgot
time,
it existed
yes.
until like 3 days ago, so it is new-ish to the pod. I've done it once today.
All right, you know what? Let's marry Wonder. Let's go with that.
All right, we'll kill RPG. All right, our last group. I call this something fresh. New ideas. We have Quantum Error. which if you haven't thought about that in a while, it is very much a like Dead Space like mixed with, it's like a PS5 exclusive like horror gross.
What's this
enemy,
game called
looking
again?
Quantum Error. Look at some screenshots.
Sure.
While also mixed with like some weird interdimensional, maybe space shit. But you play like a fighter too. It was similar to Isaac Clarke. He's like, I'm an engineer, but like you're just a firefighter who now has to fight off these aliens. And we have Wizard with a Gun.
Okay.
Which is, the evokes some Bastion in there. And then we have Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, which is that new game coming out, which is like you're exploring the mines of Moria. You can get through it in a few hours if you take the same route that, the Fellowship did. So those are our games. Quantum Error, Wizard with a Gun, Lord of the Rings Return to Moria.
Well, I already can say I cannot kill Wizard with a Gun because it's Devolver, so you're automatically a leg up. The other two, to be honest, that Moria game looked like it's going to be trash. But this Quantum Error that I never heard of, I'm looking at it and like, yeah, that looks like a current gen whatever, but it's also by a team I've never heard of before who's made one game I've never heard of before. So my only real thing is that I do not want to kill the Devolver game. Outside of that, I could be swayed one way or the other.
Let's kill the Lord of the Rings game, because I think we're all pretty low on it. I don't think any of us want to fuck with it. I'm watching the trailer right now for Quantum Error. Had not heard of this game before. I will say, I really do like, again, going back to Dead Space, which you compared it to at the front, I really do like this idea of you're a person that has like a normal ass job that you're very skilled in, but it's a very specific normal ass job. But that is the extra little bit of skill that gives you the strength and know-how to persevere against a supernatural threat. So I do like that a lot.
I have really no feelings either way, other than I like Wizard with a Gun.
You know what? I would go with fuck Quantum Error, because I feel like, will this game truly be a groundbreaking experience? No, but I'd wanna try it out. And we'll marry Wizard with a Gun, because it seems like of the three titles we just listed, the one that is most guaranteed to be baseline good.
I love that Alex's idea of the F part of MFK is I'll try it out.
I guess it's kind of like a one-time fuck. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. See how this goes.
Okay, so now our job is to take the 4 kills, the 4 marries, and the 4 fucks, and narrow it down to what is our 1 kill game, what is our 1 fuck game, and what is our 1 marry game for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with kill. We've decided to kill Detective Pikachu Returns, Ghost Runner 2, Super Mario RPG, and Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. What do we want to kill most?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so there's only one that
Lord
I
of the
actually
Rings?
think is going to be bad, and that's Lord of the Rings. Yeah,
which feels it's a little bit sad, because you'd think that you would marry a game with ring in its title, but alas.
I'm surprised that like you all were so definitive, and Detective Pikachu was not even considered in there. But
I was not.
I'm fine with that.
For the record, I wanted Detective Pikachu higher, but it's all right.
Okay. Let's go with our fuck, since that is a one-time thing.
Oh yeah, try it out.
We are choosing. Let's try it out between Sonic Superstars, WarioWare Move It, Lords of the Fallen, and Quantum Error. What is our one game we want to fuck most in the next 3 months?
So is it Sonic?
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen.
Sonic, WarioWare, Lords of the Fallen, Quantum Error.
I think for me it's got to be one of those top 2, but I'm just spitballing here.
I'm kind of in there too, yeah.
I gotta be honest, I feel like Quantum Error, again, it most best epitomizes a game that you want to fuck. You want to, again, give it a shot. You don't know if it's going to be good, but it looks really interesting.
I was leaning towards WarioWare Move It. That like, despite WarioWare being kind of a slob, Wario being kind of a slob and like eating onions and shit and smelly, and it also is like that could be the most fun of all of these.
Sure,
but I guess I don't know.
I was thinking Sonic because of all you perverts out there. I know that's what y'all want to do. This is a tough one. I could be swayed very easily to one way or the other, though. What are you guys thinking here? How about this? I'm going to give one of you raise your hand. I'm going to give you my vote, but remember this for the final round.
Oh, shit.
bribery
Okay.
podcast.
I
I'm
don't
saying
feel
it now.
I don't feel strongly enough about WarioWare, so then I'll let Alex take this.
All right.
Alex, do you really want this one? Do you really want this one to win and not care about the one that we marry?
Yeah, let's
the
go for
question.
it. Let's go with Quantum
Okay,
Error.
you get
Okay,
this. You get
so
the
we're
one where you
fucking Quantum
experiment.
Error.
Yep.
All right,
Remember
now
this.
marry.
Remember this.
What game do we most want to marry? We are choosing between AC Mirage, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, and Wizard with a Gun.
Ooh. Now this is a fun one. Again, for me, AC is off the list immediately.
Same.
Yeah.
Out the window.
Yeah.
But what would be more interesting to be with forever? Spider-Man
I think for me it's between Spider-Man or Wizard with a Gun.
or Wizard with a Gun? And then there's Wonder is the other one. What was on our kill was Moria. Fuck was
Quantum Error.
Quantum Error. Cozy, do you have any thoughts? I mean, they don't matter because you owe me a favor, but what are your thoughts?
Spider-Man 2 is not only going to be a pretty meaty game, but also you have to imagine there's probably a lot of like post-game content coming down the road, even though they have not talked about that just yet. Mario's less likely to get post-game content, but again, a very meaty-ass game. Wizard with a Gun, I don't know. Sometimes you pick up some of these indie games and they're good and they're fun, but by hour 12, they start to feel a little repetitive.
For me, it would be Wizard or Spider-Man, but
Okay.
Spider-Man does have a Puerto Rican and black kid with dreads, and that is a big plus for me.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I'm on board.
I'll go with that.
Even though I wish Peter would choose a face and stick with it, I think Miles makes up for the fact that Peter can't figure out what he wants
Hey,
to
that keeps
look
the
like.
marriage interesting. You never know who's going to come home.
This is how they're going to introduce the multiverse for Spider-Man 3. It's all part of
Think
their
about
long
it, though.
con.
Oh, shit.
We're actually marrying Peter, Miles, and whoever is Venom.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure
maybe it
Venom
is
will
Peter or
survive this
Miles.
game. I'm sure Venom's going to be alive at the end. Oh, wink.
What if our next spin-off game is not Miles Morales 2, but it's Spider-Man Venom,
Ooh.
and we play as Venom?
But
Fuck,
Venom on
I'm
the
getting too
cat.
hyped right now. Okay.
Venom goes over the bodega cat, and you're just a Venom cat.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have chosen for the remainder of 2023 that we are most likely to marry Marvel Spider-Man 2, fuck Quantum Error, and kill Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Thank you for that journey for MFK 2K23 Part 2 on Respawn Aim Fire. That's it for our Game on Game show. That is it for episode 325 of Respawn Aim Fire. As Alex alluded to earlier, there's a lot of exciting things going on right now on patreon.com/Respawn Aim Fire. First, there is a barf poll. Technically, you can vote on this on Twitter, but your vote is severely diminished there. If you vote on this poll on Patreon, your vote weighs much, much more. So until this Thursday, you get to help us choose what game we're playing in October. Is it going to be Ghost Runner, Ghostwire Tokyo, The Medium, or the fourth game I picked? Oh, Little Hope. Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. So that's your barf poll. While you're there, you have exclusive access for the entire month of October to our newest episode of RAF Pretty, starring the Comedy Button folks, Anthony Gallegos and Ryan
Scott.
Got it, Ryan Scott. I told them to their faces, to their virtual faces, I have not listened to anything you've ever done, but I did Wikipedia you on the toilet 5 minutes ago. But they are pretty dope dudes. And then also Jerica Hanna was there from JK Games, who you all know because she's been on so much of our content in the past. So that's exclusive for Patreon members until the end of the month. And then you'll get another exclusive one in November. And this month's barf game, speaking of barf, we were playing Super Mario Bros. U, which you can play on the Wii U, or you can play on the Nintendo Switch, or you can play at your friend's house in the attic. And however you play it, we're talking about it this week. We're talking
About it this Thursday, October the 5th.
This Thursday, October 5th. If you're hearing this right now as it comes out, and you would love to be on the show with us, send us a message on Twitter or X or email at respawningfire@gmail.com and let us know. We would love to have you on the show. That's it. I said all the things that need to be said. I'll say it one more time. Go play Sea of Stars, everyone. It's on the service you already have. And if it's not, it's $35. Just go play it.
Good game.
Anyway. And then if you want to be on our spoiler cast for that and you beat it in the next, 3 days or a week, then let us know. And that's it. Thank you, Alex, for joining us again as our regular RAF regular here. If folks want to go see pictures of your Dixie Kong,
Maybe don't joke about that, because you will definitely not find that over on my Twitter account at Alex
you
Kuzina.
don't have pictures of your Dixie Kong Lego set on your Twitter?
Oh, that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, I said pictures of your Dixie Kong. Actually, I don't know if I got Kong out before I started laughing, but
All I heard was dicks and then laughing.
If I posted pictures of the Dixie Kong Lego set on my Twitter account, it's been a while. You will, however, get to see pictures of my new TV stand that I'm building there soon. So if you really love TV stands, you better go to twitter.com/AlexKozina, AlexKozina.
dope. Adam, plug something. What are you doing now?
Not much. I'm just here. All of the PAX stuff is up though. So Left Behind Game Club and Crossplay Conversations.
That's this one, Left Behind Game Club.
Yeah.
And then that's this one,
did.
Crossplay Conversations.
A couple stuff that I did up there for PAX West. That was fun times. Has anything else happened? I don't know. Shit. Live your life, brother.
Hey.
Show me your Dixie Kong.
All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, here's our usual sign off. Show me your Dixie Kong.
Goodbye.
Nasty.